Hey, this is Mr. Mola for the 4.2 puzzle time, and the joke for this one is, what did the wall say to the bookcase? All right, so here we're talking about point slope, remember? So kind of like the lesson I did yesterday, or earlier today, sorry. The first couple are just writing it out. So if you remember, point slope is y minus y1 equals m, and then x minus x1. And if you remember, y is just always going to be y, that's just going to stay the same. X is always going to be x, that's just going to stay the same. Y1 is going to be the y point, though. And then same thing with x1, that's going to be the x point. And then, as always, when we're dealing with this chapter, m is going to be our slope. So the first couple, they just want us to rewrite it. So y minus the y point is 6 here. Remember, this is x, this is y. Our slope is 4. And then x minus the x point there is 5. So y minus 6 equals 4, and then x plus 5. So as we can see, it is letter E there. And then one thing you want to be careful on these are, if we look at like number 3, are these ones that are negative. So then y minus a negative 2 minus a negative really turns into a plus. So that'll change to y plus 2. Our slope is a negative 1. And then x minus a negative 1 turns into the same thing. Minus minus turns into a plus. So it was plus 1. And so that one's going to be letter L up here. Okay. I'm going to look at number 5 here with you, and also number 11. So here, same thing. We're writing it in slope-intercept form. So first we need to write it in point-slope form, and then do 2 steps of math to get it into slope-intercept form. And this takes a little bit of room, so I have them written down over here. So remember, first step, we need to find our slope. To find our slope here, we're going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So pretty much subtracting our y's and then subtracting our x's. So if I look at this, I get negative 11 minus 4. And then our x's, I have 4 minus 9. So negative 11 minus 4 is negative 15. 4 minus 9 is negative 5. So I end up with negative 15 over 5, which is the same as 3. So our slope is 3. Okay, and now we need to do point slope. So y minus y1 equals m, and then x minus x1. And remember, we can pick either one of these points. Again, I don't want to deal with negatives over here, so I'm going to pick 4 or 9 and 4 here. Again, doesn't matter which one you pick. If you don't believe me, hopefully you watched the video from yesterday and I proved you wrong. So here we go, y minus y1. And so my y for this problem is 4. My m, our slope, we figured out was 3. And then x minus the x1, and the x1 for this problem is 9. Okay, so we wrote it out, and then we have 2 problems of math. Our first problem is to distribute. So 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 9 is 27. And then I need to add 4 to each side. So first step, distributing. Second problem, add or subtract there. So I'm left with 3x, and then negative 27 plus 4 is negative 23. So y equals 3x minus 23, which, as we can see down from our paper here, is down here at letter O. All right, now let's look at number 11. So again, kind of the same thing here. It's just giving us our x and our y's a little different. So if you remember, this is x, this is y, this is x, this is y. So same thing, we need to find our slope first. So I'm going to subtract my y's. So negative 5 minus 4 to give me negative 9. And then 8 minus a negative 10. So same thing, that minus a negative turns into a plus. So 8 plus 10, we end up getting 18. So I end up with negative 9 over 18, which is the same as negative 1/2. And then so that's our first part. We found out our slope. Okay, and then our second part, we need to figure out our y-intercept. So I'm going to use my slope or point slope form. This time, there's not really an easier one in my mind. I have a negative 10 and a 4, or an 8 and a negative 5. I'm just going to pick 8 and negative 5 because they're smaller. So y minus, my y is a negative 5, so minus a negative 5 ends up turning into a plus 5. My slope is negative 1/2. And then my x is 8. So again, 2 steps of math here. Distribute, distribute. So y plus 5. Negative 1/2 times x is negative 1/2 x. Careful here, negative a half times a negative 8 is a positive 4. And then I need to subtract 5 from each side because it's adding 5. So y equals negative 1/2 x minus 1, which if we go back and look at our paper, is down here at letter H. So then the answer to our joke here, what did the wall say to the bookshelf or bookcase? It said, "Help yourself."